So, you've taken the red pill, and now you're falling down the rabbit hole. What comes next?
Oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show. So have you ever felt betrayed? Switches how you see things. Realize something needs change. Cause I know you got me fucked up. Let me show you what's up. Cause enough is enough. I'll take a face full of pavement just to make a statement.
You woke up, your very first breath, and from that time forward, everything that was told to you, everything that you saw in the media, in music, from your peers, your teachers, everywhere you went, every photo you saw in an advertisement was telling you how the world was supposed to be, how your life was supposed to be. And you went along just fine with that idea. You believed in happily ever after. You believed that if you saved the princess, you'd end up with the family and the white picket fence, and everything was going to work out great. You looked at family members, and you saw maybe your grandparents' generation, 50 years together, and everything seemed to be the way it was supposed to be.
Molly, does the story of Pandora have any particular significance for you? Her curiosity and doing things she was told not to do?
People really misunderstand the 1950s. They think in terms of like June Cleaver and Donna Reed, as if everybody was discriminating against women, forcing them to stay at home. But that isn't it at all. They grew up during the Great Depression. They were surrounded by death. They were surrounded by starvation. They were surrounded by bankruptcies, homelessness. Just to survive, they had to go to a soup kitchen. These same young women, their brothers, their uncles, their fathers were tortured on the Bataan Death March, were slaughtered like fish in a barrel on the beaches of Normandy. They were tremendously traumatized by that. And the main objective is that their kids would never have to go through anything like that again.
But you see, your grandparents' generation was raised in a different time, under very different circumstances. They held that relationship together because it was not only for them, but more importantly, for the kids. But now, the world is a very different place, under very different circumstances, and the things that worked back then don't work now. Now we fast forward to modern day America, and you think you have it all figured out. You found the one, and everything goes according to plan. Except when it doesn't. You're probably here because you tried that approach. You went through your first major breakup, or maybe your fifth, and you realized this isn't what they sold me. The Disney idea of happily ever after isn't real. You did everything you could to please your partner, to be the best man you could. And for some reason, she left you for someone else.
Question 15. Have you had sexual relations with any of your husband's friends and never told him about it? If you answer this truthfully, it's worth $100,000.
The answer is yes.
That answer is true.
And if you paid attention, You might have noticed that someone else had something more than you. Maybe he was a doctor, a lawyer, an NBA player, who knows? Or maybe he just was a little bit better looking, but I'm sure you looked at him and went, why would she go for that guy? Anyway, that was your moment. She left you, and you were a ball of pain on your knees, surrounded by alcohol, misery, the echoing walls of the empty room because she walked out. You could hear yourself, and it was maddening, wasn't it? You know, you've been there, because she was your everything. She was the rest of your life, and magically, without any warning that you could see because you hadn't woken up yet. Not really. This didn't make sense. It was all fine. And now she's gone. So how did we get here? Well, because you were sold a lie. And as I said, now you're sitting there in pain. You're suffering, you're hurt. And that's understandable. I don't hold that against you. That's being human. But that hangover hurt, and I'm not talking about the binge drinking the night you found out. I'm talking about waking up, realizing that part of your life, the happily ever after, was now dead. And so, most of you have gone through the trauma, the pain, the hurt, the betrayal, the questioning, the not understanding what just happened to you. And that hurts. And I get that. And man, if you're still here, good on you. But now you decided to come to me or some of these other content creators, and you took the red pill. So what happens now? What happens? Well, it's not as simple as popping a pill in reality. Just shows up in front of you. Oh no. The first step is going to be what they call red pill rage. And by they, I mean the guys in the manosphere.
I'm in the dark here! You understand? I'm in the dark! Fuck! Fuck! Fuck, motherfucker! Motherfucker! You know how fucking stupid you fucking are! No! Women, a mistake? Or did he do it to us on purpose? Because I really want to know! Because if it's a mistake, maybe we could do something about it!
As you start learning the truth, female nature, that maybe you weren't in your masculine frame, that you were indeed blue pill, that you were plugged in deeply into a false reality, you're going to get angry. You're going to get angry at yourself. You'll be furious some days to look in the mirror, to realize, and I don't say this as an insult to you, but you look in the mirror, how stupid am I for believing all of this? And then you'll be angry at women. That's red pill rage. You'll have bitterness, resentment, anger, frustration. Some of you will take that for the rest of your lives, and that's the end of your journey. You'll be the extreme end of the spectrum. You'll decide that I'm done with women. It was a divorce. She took my kids, my house, my car, my dog, my dignity, my self-respect. I wound up living in a car. I lost my job. I lost everything.
What the fuck, bro? Why the fuck can I get shit right? Fuck, bro! Fuck!
Your call has been forwarded to an automated voice messaging system.
Hey, I just wanted to see how you were doing.
been a while since we last talked, and I ran into your mom the other day. And she told me you were doing great. It was nice to see her. I've been thinking a lot about you lately. I miss you. Call me back.
I will never give that to another woman again. That's a choice. But that's the extreme. There are other options. They're not easy, but in order to get there, you have to let go of the red pill rage. When you have red pill rage, now is not the time to date. Now is not the time to meet women. Now is not the time to be codependent and run to the next best option. No. Now, it's time to learn. It's time to come to the manosphere, to listen, to take the advice. And advice comes in many different forms, and many different men have many different ideas on this. You'll find your path. But realistically, what you want to do is focus on you, becoming a better version of yourself, not to get another relationship, to set yourself free, so that you don't have to worry if the next relationship doesn't work out. To be free from the matrix. To be free from the illusion, the lie you were sold. And when the next one comes along and everything's great, you'll be prepared. As some men will say, she's not yours, it's just your turn.
She know exactly who got next. She know who got next. She know who gonna get in them sweet watery guts. You can't worry about that. You can't think about that. You can't control that. You had your fun with her. What they say? She not yours. It's just your turn, right? Dog, your turn can last a very long time. Your turn can last very shortly. More of the story is you want to enjoy your turn at all times. That's it, G. I'm gone.
If that turns out to be true, then you can walk away whole, not broken, not like you were when you came here. And if it works, you found the needle in a needle stack, as Better Bachelor puts it. But right now, you're probably just coming to Red Pill. You found my channel and you're new here. Maybe you found me on accident after watching a bunch of TikTok reaction videos. Red Pill guys showing you how bad modern women are. And you related. And then you stumbled into my page. And here you are watching this video. The next step is internalizing Red Pill. This might take you 6 months, 2 years, more than likely 5, 7 years. It's not something you're just gonna wake up one day and master. It doesn't work like that. It takes a lot of time. Because you're gonna have to learn a lot of things that you believed weren't true, and you're gonna have to unlearn a lot of things that you learned from society, from dating, from your peers, from your friends, from dating coaches, from everyone that told you how it was supposed to be. You're going to have to unlearn a lot of this.
You must unlearn what you have learned.
Like I said, now is not the time to date. And some of you go, well, I'm not going to date. I'm just going to chase tail. Why? Is that bettering yourself? Or is that just wasting more time playing with an idea that will eventually leave you more self-loathing than you are now? Because I guarantee you, yeah, the initial high is going to be great. Look at all the tail I can chase. I don't care anymore. I'm just going to pump and dump. Yeah, it seems great in the beginning. But it leaves a hole, a void, inside of you. Some of you have already been there. You've already tried that. By the way, if you're doing that, you're contributing to the problem. You're creating more of the same thing that broke you to begin with. Is that something you want? I don't recommend it. A lot of these guys will say, yeah, just have casual flings, just pump and dump. that creates more of the women that broke you. I wouldn't go down that path. It's an option. It's a PUA option, and you can stack bodies until you're completely empty on the inside, and then come back to us and hopefully find a better way. But it's an unnecessary step that I wouldn't recommend to anyone. Anyway, let's say you don't choose that path and you stay away from dating for a while, not because you don't still have an interest in women, and maybe you do want a relationship, but because you're taking this seriously and you want to learn, you want to change, you want to grow. Then from here, I recommend your first step is to go to what some in the manosphere call the godfather of the red pill. Pick up an audiobook or a hard copy of The Rational Male.
This book, Rational Male. Who agreed with you? Who disagreed with you? Who said, I
That's
totally
evolving.
agree with what he has to say? Dude, the guy's full of shit. He has no clue what he's talking about. You write books. You're going to have people from both sides.
Oh, absolutely.
Who liked it, who
still
hated
do,
it?
Still do. It's mostly guys that hate it.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. I'll tell you a really quick funny story here. When I was writing the second book, which is the Preventive Medicine, it's a timeline and everything that what to expect from women at certain phases of maturity. I started that book with an introduction because I had a guy relate this story to me that he was reading the first book, Rational Male, and he was there, checking it out on his couch or something. His girlfriend, his wife, whoever came in and said, the rational male, there's no rational male. He was laughing at it. She's like, give me that. I'll decide, what this is all about.
The girl read it.
Yeah, the girl read it. She grabbed it from him, and it took her like maybe 3 or 4 days to read it. She just like ate it up. She comes back to the guy at the end of the week and she tosses it back to me. She says, everything in that book is correct, and you shouldn't know any of it. And that was
You shouldn't
know
any of it. Yeah.
Because it gives
Secrets.
away the game. It gives away the mechanics, the underpinnings of like what's going on. Sort of the dance between men and women. And that's when I get hate from guys. It's usually because they don't know how to apply this. Or it conflicts with a very deeply held ideology, like their ego invested in this, what we call, the blue pill ideas, where it's like, this is what you've been taught from a societal perspective, from a Western societal perspective. This is how men are, this is how women are, and this is what you can expect from them. And then they'll get into that point where they have that bad breakup, or they have that bad divorce, or they're going through some kind of trauma. And it's only at that point where they start questioning about, was what I taught, for real or not? And so this, the work that I do kind of steps in and fills in those blanks.
I think he's now in the 4th book, and read all of them. Read them all. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, until you have it memorized. And it's a lot to take in. And if you've never been down this road before, it's going to be a little bit of a shell shock. It's going to hit you a little bit harder than you would expect. A lot of the concepts in that book are pretty heavy and pretty eye-opening. But The Rational Male itself, I would call that, the books themselves, the hard red pill, the real red pill. It's a good place to start. From there, maybe a couple years in, some of that red pill rage is still in you, but it's subsided enough, and you think, I'll go get a date. I'll ask a girl out. So you create a dating profile. Or 2, or 3. And you get on in there, and you see a lot of attractive women. So you swipe right, hundreds of times.
80% of women are dating 20% of men when it comes to online dating. Let's talk about it. I'm 29 right now, and I've been a user of Tinder, I want to say since 2014, and that was back when the user ratio between men and women was 70% men, 30% women. So back then, I'm not going to rate how I look. You guys can do that for me in the comments, I guess. But I was definitely one of those users who had to swipe, play the lottery, and hopefully I was lucky enough to get a match. It's just what it is for a lot of guys when it comes to online dating. On the flip side, I do have some male friends who are in that 20% of men. One of my friends, he's an aircraft broker, and so in a lot of his pictures, he's really well groomed, he's wearing a suit, and he's in a whole bunch of private jets, in and around private jets and around some pretty powerful people. And women tend to notice that. He is a really good guy. But I think in general for men, it's really unusual for us to get pictures taken of us in public. It's typical and it's normalized for us to see women posing, taking selfies of themselves, or asking their friends to gather up to take pictures, but it doesn't seem to happen a lot with men. I know personally it's been a journey to get over that awkwardness to ask people to take a picture to save that memory. And the major motivation of me doing that is I want to become more desirable online. It's not even for saving the memories, but it's so I can appear more attractive and I don't get written off immediately just from the basic photos that I currently have. Unfortunately, the way dating apps operate, your face is the biggest thing that's being presented to whoever is trying to match with you. Your interests, the things that you write about that express your personality, those things are very much secondary. So with those physical characteristics being the primary factor of why 20% of men are getting 80% of women, it's no wonder why they're ending up on so many terrible dates with them. I have a few homegirls who don't even give a lot of time to talk with the other person through text. They find it kind of awkward and they would much rather just meet in person and end up on bad dates. For myself personally, because I don't prioritize going out and taking pictures of myself, that means I have to look at profiles when I do match with them and like look really hard at all their photos, trying to find like details that I share in common with them and trying to come up with something catchy or flashy to express my personality, as opposed to some guys can just get away with a hey smiley face. Us 80%, we're definitely dateable, we're just not playing the game right.
And you start noticing they don't notice you. 80% of women are dating 20% of men, and the 20% of men are getting all the tail, and they are pumping and dumping, creating more of the women that left you and broke you. And I'm going to rewind there. Some of you may have done something to lose that relationship. So, if that's the case, it's also advisable to become a better man. But, for the most of you, yeah, this applies. She simply didn't see value in you, or you lost that value along the way. She realized she could do better. Women are pragmatic and opportunistic, and she moved on. If that's the case, the 20% of men that she's going after you aren't committing, creating more of the problem over and over again. Anyway, you notice as you're on the dating sites that you've swiped right on, I don't know, 500, 800, 1,000. Who knows? Are you keeping count? Probably not. But are you really looking closely too? Are you looking at how many kids they have, their political views, or are you just looking at the picture and saying, oh, that looks good? Oh, yeah, probably that. But even then, your results, your return on investment, the hours you spent swiping and wasting your time, most of them either ignored you, left you unread, didn't take you seriously, or maybe you set up a date and they ignored the date. They made up some excuse. But for the most part, you're having no success. I recommend never getting on these dating apps to begin with, but maybe you're already in that stage. My advice is to delete those. Never go back. Just delete them, be done. Deactivate your account, delete your account completely so that it's not there. So that you'd have to make a new profile. And don't waste your time. Just walk away. So go the extra step and delete the account. Don't just stop logging in and get rid of it. Again, 80% of men are not what women are looking at. They're looking at 20% of the men. And those men are celebrities, athletes, guys with yachts. And you're probably not that. So there's no point in being on the dating websites to begin with. But where do we go from here? Now you're getting no results and you're getting frustrated again because you feel like you have no value. you're not wrong. You're actually not wrong. Because you are still pursuing women. You're not pursuing excellence. What you should be doing during this red pill rage period, or after it's subsiding a little bit, is pursuing your career, your goals, your hobbies, fitness, getting in the gym, getting in shape. You know, right now, gentlemen, you might be 5'6", a little bit overweight and have a beer gut, and an average job, $48,000 a year, let's say. It's a little bit above average, but for this, let's just say that. And no women are approaching you at all. And they'll go out of their way, trust me, if they're interested, they will. What you have to do is understand that you're in the bottom 80% of men there. But if you go to the gym, if you just get in shape, if you change your diet, you're already doing better than 70% of men worldwide. 70% of men worldwide are overweight. So just changing that simple little thing already gives you an edge and moves you into the top 20%. I kid you not. And you'll notice as soon as you've lost the weight, gotten rid of the beer gut, getting to a six-pack is going to require diet. Doesn't happen in the gym. I mean, you're going to have to work out, but you're going to have to get rid of the weight first. But if you do that, you're already setting yourself up for success in the future. So you take that route. But let me break away from that, because right now we're still talking about, well, I want to get in a relationship again. That's where the next stage comes in, is understanding that all the things you're doing better in your career, advancing in your position, starting your own business, making more money in general, working on you, getting in the gym, getting in shape. You're not doing this for women, and you should never be doing this for women. This is something you owed yourself your entire life, and you didn't do. And now you owe it to yourself. This is your chance. As a matter of fact, when she broke your heart, when she left you, that was the best thing that ever happened to you. I know it hurt. I know it sucked. But from here, you can finally start giving yourself everything you were giving women. You can start caring about yourself, working on yourself, becoming your mental point of origin. The only thing you need is you. That's the next step. So now, your focus isn't chasing tail, going on dating apps. It has nothing to do with women. And as a matter of fact, you now, once you've practiced this, once you've learned it and internalized it, you could care less whether they're approaching you or not. And you're a lot more choosy, but you have to have discipline to get there. It's not going to happen overnight. And most men will fail right here because they can't stop dick thinking. For the rest of their lives, until the grave, their pursuit of women is going to be all that matters. In other words, they take the blue pill again with their red pill rage. They try the purple pill. It fails over and over and over again. They try to live in a lie while knowing reality, and it breaks them, and they become more bitter. But they still pursue over and over again. Is that what you want? Is that your goal? To be one of those men? Or maybe you want to go black pill. Well, I'll never be good looking enough, and all women are insert derogative word here. And so you just give up completely and isolate. Or maybe you listen to the jokers that talk about white pill and moving on from red pill, and maybe that's your path. And then you still fail because you think you could beat reality. You think you could reprogram it like a video game. And it doesn't work like that. Reality is reality. Red is red. There is no going back from it. There is no unseeing it. There is no changing or warping it to fit your narrative for your clout. You can't do it. It is what it is. But there are other options. They're not great. Like I said, you can choose that path. I don't recommend any of them. Your red pill. Stay here. And once you've grown that awareness, female nature, being in your own mental point of origin, focusing on you, getting yourself in shape, getting a better job, then you're going to start noticing women are going to be attracted to you. They're going to start looking at you. You'll see them. They'll glance. They'll glance again. You know how that goes. Some of you are going to think they're looking at you because you didn't comb your hair right, or you're wearing a goofy shirt, or your shoes look bad. Why women care about shoes, I don't know. But they do. They'll look at you and judge you on how well put together you are based on whether you're wearing Dockers or, Versace or, I don't know, Skechers. Isn't that sad? It's all material. But whatever. You have a choice here. This is your choice. I don't have all the answers for you. Nobody does. None of these men do. This is your journey. This is your path. We can give you the tools. We can tell you where to go, what not to do. But ultimately, the decision is yours to make, and only yours to make. I'll tell you what I don't recommend. I'll tell you what dangers you might fall into. But ultimately, it's on you. So, if you're here and listening, hopefully you're taking it seriously. But if you decide to walk out of here and throw it in the trash, that's also on you. But I'm going to tell you right now, the next step, once you've internalized Red Pill, once you've worked on yourself, once you've hit the gym, once you've upped your game and with your career, and you've got hobbies and friends and things you do, and women are no longer a priority. And by that I mean, even if you get a date, well, I already have plans with my friends, so I can sneak in, but, it's this. Also, another bit of advice. You're going to set up a date. You're going to tell her where we're going. This is it. I want sushi. You don't want sushi? All right, well, stay at home, make your own meal. That's it. We're not going to ask her what she wants. We're not going to come up with a plan together. You're going to say, hey, look, I want to do this. You're free to tag along. If you don't, stay home. No laws. And if she doesn't come, then move on. That's it. That's done. But that's when you get to the point where you are your mental point of origin. You no longer care whether or not she's going to go along with the program. If she doesn't, you move on. Okay, so you're at that point in Red Pill. And this is going to take, I'm giving you a very short glimpse of it, but this is going to take years to develop all of this. That first step that I told you about, that research step, you're going to want to spend a lot of time on it. Not an hour video here or there, not when it's convenient. You're going to use your free time when you'd normally be screwing around on a video game. You're going to use that time to learn, read a book, watch some content. You're going to learn, or you're going to end up back where you were when you were on the floor in a drunken mess. That's a choice too. But once you get to this point where you're now your own mental point of origin, you lead the way. Women come into your life, and if they want to be there, it's by choice. They're not going to change your mind. They're not going to bend or break you. They're not going to shit test you into a corner. We can get into shit testing. Basically, female nature, they're going to test you constantly. There's a series of things that they will do during dating, throughout the relationship. Here's a shit test you can turn right around on a woman. You go out on a date. She shows up in an Uber. And this is actually a TikTok video. This was a woman in Florida. You can look it up on TikTok. I'm not going to show it here, but she decided to play games and found out. So after the date, the dude got his ride home. It showed up before hers, and she did the shit test. Well, are you going to wait for me? For my ride to come? He's like, no. And he left. That's where you want to be. Because most guys are going to go, oh, yeah, of course. I'll wait. I guess the guy showed up an hour later, her Uber. And if he would have stayed, he would have failed the shit test. So you'd think that was a win if he would have stayed. Because he's showing that he cares. And of course she complained and said, oh, well, he left me in the streets of Miami at 3 a.m. Not my problem. I got to go home. I got work the next morning. You figure it out. Maybe you should have planned ahead. Maybe Ubered a little bit earlier. But this dude left. And that is your mental point of origin right there, where you can just All right, whatever. Gotta go. Got work in the morning. You figure it out. And of course, she didn't contact the guy, and it was a win for her in her mind that she didn't continue it. But in reality, he was the one that won. Because she was shit testing him. It's not worth it. He succeeded. He passed the shit test. Of course, she went on TikTok to say he failed it, but he didn't. Because he didn't bow down. He didn't pedestalize. He stayed in his mental point of origin, and he said, nah, I have shit to do. Gotta go. See ya. Nice date. Nice seeing you. On my way now. Anyway, the next step is that you have a firm understanding of red pill. It's part of you now. Now, you can be happy alone for the rest of your life, if need be, because you have things that matter to you. Your job, your free time, your hobbies, your friends. You're good to go. Now, like I said, you're seeing women looking at you. They're going to approach you. This is the cool thing. You're going to find out as soon as you step into that mental point of origin and stay there, that women will go out of their way to make sure you see them. You'll be shopping at a grocery store, and there'll be a woman in an aisle looking at you. You know, look at her, she'll look away. You look away, she looks at you again. Why they just can't say, hey, you're hot, you want a date? These women do it to themselves, but whatever. They're never going to learn, so it's on them. But she'll then follow you 3 aisles over. She'll just show up there. And then you'll be over in maybe the clothing department. She's over there magically. If she finds you attractive, she's going to find a way to be in front of you so that you can approach her. And if you choose to approach her, that's fine. And if she's not your cup of tea, you don't. But you're going to start noticing it more and more. The more you're focused on you, the more you'll start noticing it. Now, here's the thing. Let's say you do approach her, and you meet up, you go on a date, you blow her back out, everything's great. And you start seeing some red flags. Some of that stuff you would have ignored when you were still blue pill, when you were still living in a lie, and you can walk away. And it's not going to hurt you. Or, let's say you do get into a relationship with her, and it lasts a couple months or whatever, or maybe a year or whatever, and then she bounces. She just leaves. Again, it's not going to break you. It's not going to hurt. Here's the trick to that. This is the secret. Not the Oprah secret, the secret to these relationships. When you were blue pill, when you were simp mangina thinking, you fell in love. You were on cloud 9, and it was amazing at the time until it wasn't. But what you realize is the more you fall in love with a woman, the more she falls out of love with you. Let her fall in love. Let her fall in love with you. Meanwhile, you can love her, you can care about her, but that in-love feeling that you got your butterflies or whatever, that high school love, you leave that where it was, high school. You leave it there. Again, you're going to maintain you being the focus, and if that sounds selfish, so be it. That way, when or if something goes wrong, you're still good, you're still solid, you're still 100%. What you need to understand is that in your blue pill thinking, you loved, ironically, the opposite of what Disney suggests. You loved on a deep emotional level. You gave her your all, and so when she left, it broke you. It broke your psyche, snapped it in half. Women love opportunistically and based on opportunity. So, while you gave it your all, she still had 20 other guys in her inbox or Snapchat or Instagram, somewhere you didn't know about it, but they were there. Maybe just at her work, co-workers. And when she left you, she already had a plan. There was a guy lined up. There's always a plan lined up. Always. Every time. Sometimes that plan fails and backfires on them, but they always have one. So knowing that, when you avoid this deep, emotional, nonsensical connection, to be honest, you still care. You still love her, but you're not investing so much of yourself that it breaks you. So when it ends, or if it ends, you can walk away. All right. She's not mine. It was just my turn. You got to remember that. But in the meantime, most of you are probably in the early stages of this. So, as I recommended, go check out The Rational Male. You might also look into Aaron Clarey, read some of his books. The Book of Numbers is really great. It's a return on investment with women. That's a really good book. The Numbers, by the time you read that, that might just wake you up there. But again, The Rational Male and the Book on Numbers, Rollo Tomasi and Aaron Clarey, very good books. So if you're early in this, check out some other content, not just mine. Terrence Popp, Think Before You Sleep, Better Bachelor, Coach Greg Adams, Replicant Fish. Taylor the Fiend is a good one. Undead Chronic, you could check out him. That's going to lean you more towards Black Pill, so be careful there. But there's a lot of good creators out there. Entrepreneurs in Cars, Richard Cooper. Check out all these guys and take your time. This isn't a sprint. This is a marathon. You're in a new world now. You've woken up from a lie. This isn't something you can do overnight. So take your time. That's my recommendation to all of you now that you've taken the red pill, now that you're awake. Take your time. Like me, hate me, love me, loathe me. Red Pill Rhino, signing out.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be fucking sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.